Thank you, everybody, for joining me. We are going to wait for Steve Johnson to jump on the call or jump on the live stream. We're doing two guests today. We're going to talk to Steve Johnson, who runs SJConnects, who's a master communicator, and I'm very excited to talk to him today. And then we're also going to talk to Effie Jacobson, who is working on sustainable fashion trends, because as you know, today is Earth Day. Thank you for celebrating Earth Day with us. And hopefully for those of you watching, you're going to visit evanstonmade.org. You are going to look up coloring book, and then you're either going to download for free any amount you want, or you're going to pay up to $10. Part of the money goes to planting a tree. The other part of the funds go to the artist fund that we're starting for Evanston Made, so people can apply to us for micro grants just in case they have difficulty paying rent or buying supplies during these times. So for those of you joining, thank you. This is the Lisa D Show Live. We are talking to some interesting creatives about making stuff happen today, and we're going to try to jump into a conversation with Steve Otis. Let's see, Steve here at Retrofit.
Hey!
Yes, roommate!
Hey!
Awesome.
We're here.
You're here. Thank you, Retrofit. Wow, that's a lot of guitars behind you.
You know, they sometimes get played once in a while.
That's
Not
pretty
a lot.
impressive. Thank you. Really, Steve, I know that you're a very busy person, and there's a lot that I want to talk to you about right now today.
Okay.
Especially, how are you consulting your clients to do storytelling and PR and communications while the world is on fire?
I was at two webinars today, one with the Publicity Club of Chicago, one with PR Week, and both of them were addressing this about how are you pitching media, how are you addressing your audiences. And the thing that we're going with first is because of the pain that everyone's feeling. This isn't a plane went down and, you know, there's a huge traumatic event for people who were involved in that plane, or a 9/11. Everyone is getting touched here. Mm-hmm. So if you're not leading off with some kind of empathy and some kind of idea of what everyone else is going through, then you are failing the first point of being able to communicate right now. When you and I talked the other day, I called out an Evanston business, the wine goddess, Diane over there. Mm-hmm. Her first foray into communicating with folks was so heartfelt. It had such good depth about, I don't know what everyone else is going through. I can only imagine on a day-to-day basis, but especially today. Mm-hmm. Just setting the table right there is pretty critical. So empathy first, empathy always, but be genuine about it. That's the first thing you have to do.
Okay, that's great advice. I don't open with empathy ever. It is one of my flaws, and I'm going to start working on that. I just wrote that, lead with empathy.
Be less callous, Lisa.
I know. Gosh, Steve Johnson, be less callous. And then also in terms of storytelling, like what I do want to figure out is I am worried for Evanston Made that what if we appear opportunistic because we're like, hey, I know it's really hard for you. You know, like I don't want to bandwagon on the emotive side of what's happening, but I do absolutely want to feel like I'm being authentic and connected. So like, how do you help people not get too in the realm of taking advantage?
Well, you know, just acknowledgement is really the first thing. If you just make a basic acknowledgement, you don't have to what we call breaking into jail, the idea of going too deep and losing some of that authenticity that way. But from an artist's perspective, the storytelling is still going to be important. I caught the second half of your conversation with Beto, mm-hmm. and you were talking about the reaction of what's going on in art and the reaction of big things in our lives. And we need to see that. Art is a human tool for connection. And so it's going to be seen and it needs to be experienced right now. There needs to be escape or understanding or coming together through that. Mm-hmm. So while being able to express some empathy early on, everyone's going through something. 2, you may not be able to get involved in this right now. Take care of yourself and your own first. Lots of podcasts are doing a great job of stating that. But the end is going to be, we need to also make sure that we're not losing what brings us together as humans, as community members, all of these things. That's why we live. We don't live to go say, oh my God, spreadsheets. I mean, some people do. We live so we can say, wow, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to see this artist. I'm going to see this play. I'm going to go talk to people about some book that I read. You know, I'm going to do Sudoku because that's the art of puzzles. We need that. So be a part of it and just be cognizant of what other people are going through.
Nice. This is such great. Like, I'm busy writing everything down. This is such great advice. And for everyone on the live stream right now, we do post these after. I was telling Steve earlier today, we try to make packages so that we can share these again and replicate, because we are dropping knowledge bombs. And the reason that all of these guests are on, Steve, is because I truly believe that your line of work is essential for how we find our way out of this, how we manage to write the new narrative. Are a lot of, you know, because you're also a creative person, you are the lead singer of a band, you know, you're right. You have creative roommates. Are you struggling right now in that sort of bucket in terms of like being able to sing and being able to play music and being able to find happiness in that?
I will always find, being in the house 24 hours a day right now, everyone's just going to have to deal with the fact that I've got my headphones in and a sweet Queensryche song comes on. You're going to hear some octaves. You're just going to do it. But it comes out in a couple of different ways. I am lucky that my kids have also taken up music and they're writing songs with their friends and passing it around electronically. And we do things in the basement that way. But my writing also, because there's so much that I've got a very small role to play in humanity. I know communications pretty well. I know how to get people to communicate with each other, and I want to share that. Right now with these Zoom meetings, you are beautiful. The way you are framed is wonderful. You've got great lighting. You've got interesting background. Your eyes are in the top fourth of of the frame.
Oh, right, because I'm always worried that like people Zoom really close. I don't like that. I'm like, stop it.
I go through, I post these today, these two webcasts with people in the PR industry, and you've got, pardon me, you've got this going on. What are you communicating to people about that? I mean, so I've got a lot of room to write, to say, we're in a remote world, we're changing how we communicate. How effective are you? Are you getting your message across, or are you being distracting because in frame you're like this? I mean, simple things that can really help us out.
And I also feel like the props are really fun. Right? Like, I just feel like, oh my gosh, we can share so much. And I was just telling Beto in my previous interview, I had no intention ever of doing this. I really like audio. I love podcasts. I love talking to people. But I didn't realize the power of video to communicate and storytell. And essentially, I want to convince everybody on the whole planet not to like live in Zoom, but to start sharing and storytelling this way.
There was an article we were just sharing today about people are starting to get zoomed out already, and that's totally understandable. When you have your visual, your vocal, and your verbal, all three of those elements working at one, that's when we're most effective in communicating, which is why being face to face with someone, which is why video conferencing was introduced. Those are all critical. And, you know, we're taking advantage of one of my clients' media is Meals on Wheels, Northeast Illinois. We have their galas coming up next Friday. We've got a guy, Rob Egger. Rob Egger is going to be our spokesperson, coming in to talk about food scarcity and all of that stuff. And all the fun visual things that you can do. We're taking a cue from the club quarantine world, and we're going to have a DJ play for the first half hour with just music and people chiming in on the chat. And then we're going to have the half hour of presentation. And then we're going to have the Q&A, where we're going to have some people, VIPs will be able to get put into a Zoom. Not just using the visual, but knowing how that you have to have a beat every 5 to 10 minutes, something's got to change to maintain that engagement.
God, you're like a new show producer. Listen, you just got yourself a job, Steve Johnson. Wait,
Nice.
something has to change every 5 minutes, because in video, people have very different attention spans than they do versus reading something.
Yeah. When I do my my courses, the coaching that I do, when it's a half day course, every 5 to 10 minutes where something else is going on. Either my colleague is speaking, or we're showing a video, or we're having dialogue, or we break, or we're working on our work. That has to be done, because it's already hard for you to sit for 45 minutes for a webinar.
Right.
If you're doing that for 4 hours, there's science behind all of this. I'm not a scientist, but I will steal other people's work for my own objective of getting people to still effectively learn how to be better communicators, or artists, or politicians, or activists. And we've got to figure out how do we adjust our fire to make this technology work for us versus against us.
Right, and how do we, and what I want, and this might be way too ambitious and silly, but I want Evanston creatives. I want us to lead the new way of engagement. I want us to determine what tools we're going to use in 2021 to connect humans, because it's fine that the world's on fire. It's fine that those don't work anymore, but like who are we going to put together on the new task force to make these changes?
How many electronic artists or digital or database type artists do you have involved?
Oh my gosh, like 3.
Well,
literally.
They're going to be busy.
There you go. Well, and also somebody did point out the other day that it's the youth who will determine the new ways, right? So like the TikTok fans and all of that, like it's that group of kids who will determine how it is we engage in the future. And I don't know any of them.
How good are you at TikTok?
Are you on TikTok?
I'm 51. I'm not on TikTok.
Well, I don't know what you do and when you're free. No, I mean, I think
No.
that the problem is we need to be on TikTok. Denise Barreto, are you on TikTok? I know you're watching. And in your comments, like, I think no one under 30 is on TikTok.
Yeah, it's you got to learn it. I have to learn it. I remember, in 2007, 8, I ended up on 5 different platforms because they were all coming out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having to leverage them. And it was really weird being on Facebook before I had my friends on Facebook or Twitter. And I still have very few of my friends on Twitter. I'm being left behind on Instagram because I'm more about articles than just like every image and whatever story.
Right.
So you adapt, you own the property, you own the channel. My wife is starting up Retrofit. So it's reworked, recycled stuff. She's doing a great, amazing work right now with masks to getting them to people who need them and doing donations. And she's Instagram and Facebook crazy. She's good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, even if you're not on Twitter, just first own the property. Second, if it's easy enough for you to replicate and put the information out there, who knows what you might generate from that. So you can't be afraid to at least dabble in some of those areas, but be smart about where you spend your time.
Right. And so I use that Hootsuite platform.
Yeah.
And what I do is read really closely the analytics and the traction that I get on platforms. And what I didn't anticipate is that the traction for this would be so fast, but I think it's indicative of the time. But in general, you can use those tools to find out which works best.
It's also indicative of who your audiences are, because you have an artistic audience. Instagram, they gravitate to that. They're going to gravitate to that more. Just like they're more likely to have a Mac product versus, a PC guy like myself. Right. But when you're there and you start it and you start being able to cultivate that community, mm-hmm. for Meals on Wheels, for the Evanston Public Library, for association or the American Seniors Housing Association, whoever my client is, mm-hmm. PR folks do this. You put together your grid, and you might have one post that you did for Facebook. Okay, now what's it look like for Twitter? What's it look like for Instagram? What's it look like for LinkedIn? What's it look like for TikTok? You take that and you content share it as much as you can, and mm-hmm. own your space, because you just might find some traction where you didn't think you would get some traction.
Right. And you have to try it out, right? Like you said, you have got to be open to failure. You've got to try it out and see what sticks. And yeah, you just never know. And when you are good at it, like Denise Barretto's on the feed right now, when you're good at it and your audience is responding, it goes by fast and it is very successful very quickly. And that's what I totally love. So
Yeah.
you've been crucial in connecting me to a lot of Evanston people who I don't know. And I'm super grateful and I don't thank you enough for it. You connected me to Jill Schachter at the Evanston Public Library. When I moved here 8 years ago, I applied for her job. Second to last candidate. I didn't get it. I'm still butthurt, but it's fine because I don't belong in a library.
If I had known that when we did our podcast for the library, I would have gone reality TV producer and tried to gin up some kind of fight right there in the office.
I love her. I think I'm way too loud and Italian for a library anyway, but I have to say that my interview with her on her podcast, The Checkout, which you helped produce and launch, really was it's one of my favorite content platforms that the Evanston Public Library's ever done. You guys are having great success with The Checkout?
Yeah, it's getting a lot of downloads, lots of playthroughs. We're trying to be as broad as possible, and the sheen of it always is, okay, there's an element, the library plays a role in this somehow, and it kind of shows people how broadly the Evanston is involved in the community. It isn't just a place where you check out media. There's so many things. You learn about immigration law. You can go there and learn technology, small business. I mean, amazing, amazing things. And that's why we built that. I'll tell you this, if anyone here on this Instagram Live has not listened to the Lisa D version, you might be so tired of hearing Lisa D, it doesn't matter. It is such a fantastic, 35 minutes.
It's a lot of time.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I want to play you in ping pong just to see how angry you get if you fall behind in the points.
I am so competitive and angry and burn down the house angry when it comes to losing. Yeah, you definitely. I don't think you'll like me anymore.
Well, that podcast though has done really well. Jill has really done a good job of really trying to cross section. Evanston is a complex place, like Chicago, small version. Same problem, small version. Unlike most places in the world, what makes Evanston amazing, from its artists to tomorrow night, Steve being on board, is that we are not afraid to at least address the fact that we have issues that we have to take care of. And we may not be awesome at it, but we sure as aren't shying away. And the library's developed up an equity, diversity, and inclusion panel that is coming out with a statement that is very strong in addressing the history. And Jill's done a great job of being able to say, all right, in that light, who is it that we do bring on? How do we tell the story in all these different ways?
Yeah, the guest lineup has been spectacular. Okay, so Steve Johnson with SJConnects. We are going to log off.
Okay.
I'm super grateful for you. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we didn't talk about, but we can do that again because the internet's not going away. And you've taught me so much. And if anything, if people are listening before you log out, just leading with empathy is a super beautiful experience.
Lead with empathy, know your story, tell it well, and own your channels. There's a lot to this, but it can be done.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. You totally rocked. Have a great day.
Cheers. White Sox.
White Sox. Come on. All right. So now we're going to jump into a conversation with our good friend, Effie Jacobson. Effie, if you are listening, which I think you are, what I'm going to ask you to do is, from the E-Town Sunrise account, just wave at me again, and I'll invite you on. Effie is going to talk about some really cool work that she is doing inside the realm of sustainable fashion. I met her doing a demo, like a jean painting demo, I want to say, denim painting demo. She is a high school student at ETHS. She is part of the group that will basically lead us into the new era, I have to say. She is part of sort of the change makers. She's who we've been waiting for. I gotta say, she's got a lot of great ideas, and she has a lot of great energy. And hi, Effie. Thank you for being here. Hi. So you're part of our Earth Day 50th anniversary segment, and I'm super grateful for you. I need
thank you. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. Happy 50th anniversary Earth Day. I need you to talk to us about what it is you're doing in sustainable fashion.
So I'm a part of a group called E-Town Sunrise since the beginning of the year, which is a general climate activism justice group. And then within it, I started a sustainable fashion team with my friend Noam Hasaklowy, a junior at ETHS. And in that group, we've done a couple different projects. We did denim painting at One River Art School, thanks to Lisa. That was super fun.
Super fun.
We made a banner out of scrap fabric for the Women's March. There was supposed to be a clothing swap upcycling event last Sunday, unfortunately, but I'm working on making a virtual parallel to that, so that will be happening soon, hopefully.
Oh, wait, like you could hold up a thing and somebody could be like, I want that tank top, and then how do you do that?
I was thinking a series of tutorials for upcycling projects and repairs kind of thing to do with this extra time that some of us have.
And have you been doing, you've been busy like upcycling your entire wardrobe right now?
Okay, this is a pillow out of scrap denim.
Nice. Awesome.
I made a video explaining how to make that, so I'll post that soon in case anybody's interested. And then this is a bag from an old bed sheet.
Oh, nice.
So kind of a double whammy because it uses scrap fabric and then you can use it to use less plastic.
Cute. And where do you give people lessons on how to do this stuff? Where can people connect with you after this interview?
Any videos that I make, that I will make, will be posted on the E-Town Sunrise account.
Okay, so E-Town_Sunrise on Instagram. Awesome. All right. Well, Effie, we have to go because the show's over. I'm super grateful that you jumped on today, and I appreciate all the effort that you're working in the sustainable fashion realm. And maybe as this show goes on and your projects go on, you can come back and show us more stuff that you're working on.
I would love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Oh, that's super fun. Okay, so E-Town_Sunrise. We are going to try to do a better job connecting the initiatives that clap, 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 youth are doing. And I just feel like there's a lot of really talented and creative kids in Evanston, and we don't give them enough microphone, we don't give them enough video, and we're gonna start doing a better job. Okay, so we're signing off, but first, tomorrow is Thursday, April 23rd, and I'm very excited to let you know that Nora O'Connor-Keene is gonna be singing a live song to everybody. And the Evanston mayor, Mayor Steve Haggerty, will be here taking questions on not only how we're gonna flatten the curve in Evanston, but potentially how we're gonna open back up. And then Friday, we're gonna go to Ellen Green's art studio, and we're gonna see what's on Shannon Cahill's wall. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching today. I totally appreciate you. You make this experience wonderful. This show is brought to you by Liz Kramer and Tiago Vello and Evanston Made. And the whole reason we're doing the Lisa D Show live on Instagram, not only because it's like super fun, but also because we're trying to connect Evanston creatives with the public. And I think this is an awesome time to do it. So 6 p.m. Central, which is 4 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. East Coast. Mountain, 5 p.m. Okay, so thanks everybody so much. Effie, thank you for being here. Steve Johnson, thank you for being here. Sorry that it went over. Okay, I'm gonna walk off stage this way. Bye.